All right, so today I'm going to be talking about the three core metrics, core stages, to help you sell more of anything online. I'm going to say anything. This is true whether you're selling something like services, as a freelancer, consultant, coach, whatever, information products, courses, whatever kind of thing, physical products, it's still the same. Doesn't matter. These are the three core elements and metrics you need to know about, and if you know what you're looking for here, you can increase the sales and revenue. So, what we'll be looking at is what the three stages are, how they break down with this, the ACCA model, which is how we build all of our successful growth strategies, ways to improve those different stages, and how to find and focus on the right things at each of those stages. Let's first look at the three stages. So it's a very simple calculation, essentially, and that's what this is. And I don't care whether you are selling digital, physical products, services, whatever, same calculation. As long as you're selling something online, this is the calculation. So your revenue, that's the outcome, is literally just a simple calculation of the number of people who see your offer, most commonly referred to as your traffic, divided by the percentage of people who buy, your conversion rate, and then you multiply that resulting number by the value of those customers. And if you want to increase the revenue, you have to increase one, two, or all three of these elements. Let's look at this. Let's zoom out a little. Let's look at this with some actual numbers, right? So we have, let's imagine that you get 1,000 people to your sales page, right? And you have a 5% conversion rate, which means that you get 50 customers. That each of those customers pays you $10, which results in $500. Really simple. 50 people times $10 each, $500. Super simple. You can increase this number here by increasing any one of these numbers. Doesn't matter which one. There is no, it's easier to improve this, or if you increase this number, you'll get better gains. It's all the same. If you double any one of these, this will double. For instance, if you have 2,000 people, you then get 100 customers. If the 5% stays the same, 100 people paying $10 is 1,000. If you don't do the number of people, but instead you double the conversion rate, you still get 1,000, you still get 100 customers. If you instead decide to go after the pricing and you double the pricing to $20, $20 times 50 people each, $1,000, right? So it doesn't matter which stage. Now, one thing that you should be aware of is that when you make these improvements, it's not going to be a direct increase like this, right? It's not like this is with 1,000 people, that conversion rate stays the same and the pricing stays the same. This is with 2,000, this is with 3,000, this is with 4,000. When you play around with one of these assets and one of these elements, the other elements aren't just going to stay exactly the same. So this may increase, but at the same time, this might decrease. That doesn't mean that it's a waste or a loss or a failure, because all that we care about is this, revenue. What you'll often find, and this is a real example, let's say that you increase this to $20 and you realize that by doing that, the conversion rate drops down to 4%. You think, I'm charging more, but I'm getting fewer customers through. Not, but it's still okay, because 40 times 20 is 800, which is more than the 550 times 10. So while playing around with this price has lowered this metric here, you've still come out on top. And this is what it is essentially about. It's about pulling different levers and seeing what the end result is when you apply it to this very simple formula here, right? When you mess with one, the others aren't going to stay the same. They might increase, they might decrease, they might stay the same. But what happens really isn't important. This is all that's important, like the end outcome. What happens with these numbers, it's secondary. So that's really what you should be focusing on, is the revenue. And that's simply it. So in terms of how do these things actually work, we're talking about traffic, conversion rate, all of this stuff. How does it actually work? So if we look at the ACCA model, if you've seen anything that I do here, you'll know that I build all of the growth strategies that we work on around something called the ACCA model. And ACCA is an acronym. It stands for Attract, Capture, Convert, Engage, Refer. And essentially you want to build, rather than individual assets like Facebook ad campaign, that Facebook ad campaign should lead into a specific sales page, which then has a specific engagement sequence at the end of it, which then the people who like the product that they bought, you're asking them in a specific way to recommend that product to their friends, which brings them more people in to the sales. It's building that system rather than focusing on individual elements. So the attract stage is obviously, let's number these 1, 2, and 3. This is number 1. This is how you get people who look and find your offer and your product. Lots of different strategies here, lots of videos on my YouTube where you can go through all of these, but SEO, Facebook ads, outreach, partnerships, all of these things. It's just about getting your offer in front of those people. That's how you attract them to your brand. This stage here, this is number 2. So this is the convert stage, number of people who convert. And so what this is essentially doing, and what we tend to do here with the ACK models, is we do low cost offers at the front, anywhere between, with upsells, $1 to $500. And what we want to do is we want to push that towards those people as soon as possible, which is why this path splits. Capture their email address, put them through a 10-day email sales sequence to find people who will buy, or send them straight to a sales page if it's like a $1 product. The reason that we want to identify the people who buy is because we want to identify the people who will continue to buy. What you'll find is if somebody pays you $10, they'll pay you $100. So we want to find that percentage of buyers as quickly as possible. Refer, I'm skipping engage for a second. So you'll keep people engaged, they'll get good value out of these products. Refer obviously puts people back towards the convert stage. This is an addition and a supercharger for 1 in terms of the number of people, because you're going to get your happy customers talking about you on social, telling their friends, which is going to bring people back here. Now, increasing the lifetime value, that's where this comes in. Like I said, people who pay you once will pay you again. If I go through my best customers, I'll find that most of them who are paying high ticket stuff have bought something from me from a low ticket cost. They might have spent $27 with me on the $1 product challenge, but then they'll sign up for a $1,000 a month consult or a big ticket consultation, like a $10,000 project, whatever. But generally speaking, the people who buy the higher ticket stuff have bought the low ticket stuff first. That's why we build it in this way. You attract them in, you convert them, and then you sell them higher ticket offers. Offer 2, in this case, it might be $500 to $2,000, and then this would be $2,000 plus, or recurring revenue. And through email, in my case, or whatever way you continue to engage with them in a community, in person, whatever it is, this is where you will then pitch them these higher ticket offers, and that's how you increase the value, the lifetime value. If somebody comes in here and they pay $27, that's great. But here, if you get them to pay you $1,000, you've increased their value from 27 to 1,027. So that's it. This is the number of people who buy. This is the number of people who see your offer. This is the number of people who buy. This is how you increase the lifetime value. Really simple system. And it just is built around those 3 core elements for any business to increase the scale, the revenue, the profit of their brand. And when you build it like this, it's generally quite cost effective, so it's more profit rather than sinking loads of money into attracting people, which never actually buy, and so you just end up with very poor profit margins. So let's look at the different ways to improve these and talk a little bit about the best way to do it. Really, I find most people seem to struggle with this, the number of people. If you're doing something like SEO, then it's just a case of doing more SEO and getting backlinks. So it's a lot of work, right? Same with like things like outreach. You've got to find the right people, qualify them, send their things, and then sell them. Personally, I find that the best way, especially when you're doing this model here where you have a low ticket offer, the best way is to basically set this up as its own individual campaign. This is what's taught in my course, the $1 product challenge. And what I would recommend is use ads. Because ads, you can push your offer out in front of loads of different people very quickly. And if you have the right ad strategy, you can start breaking even in 3, 4, 5 days and then looking at how to improve that to make a profit. That is what I recommend, getting in front of more people. Obviously, this has to be built to convert people who come from ad traffic, but it's not the only way. To me, it's just one of the most effective ways. I usually draw a little matrix like this. And so if we talk about this as cost and this is time, so this is high cost, this is low cost, and this is a long time, this is very quickly. Ads will sit around here. They get working very quickly, but they can cost you a bit. Something like SEO, if you just want to write the content yourself, it's going to take a long time, but it's going to be free. So you can do that down there. Or you can use lots of tools and that goes up. But there's 101 different strategies. Really, effectively, if you want to increase the number of people who view it, the best way, in my experience, is to run ads. It is, you'll get in front of people ASAP, rather than having to do all of those different things where you have to go through this and this and this. You can have an ad campaign up and running in a day, which pushes your message out to thousands of people. And if you set up this front end system quite well, you could be spending, this is just looking at my own ads that I'm running at the minute. So at the minute I'm spending X amount. One of the ads between this and this, one of the ad groups is, I think I'm paying, it was a bit more than that, it's $15 to acquire a customer, but they're paying me a minimum of $27. So I'm making $12 profit. And then that gives me more people to sell to at this engage stage here. So that's essentially what I would recommend. Like for this part here, if you have a good product that's selling and you built the system to sell to a cold audience, run some ads. You'll get it out in front of so many more people, so much faster. As long as this converts, you'll get the ad cost, the ad spend back very quickly. So you won't be left in the hole. Then with that growing list of buyers, you can look at selling more things to them through the engage stage to increase this. Now with this, the increasing the value, there's a couple of options, right? So the first one is as they come in, here you use upsells. And the common thing is to have your regular product. My one is 27. You have a bump product, which is at usually 47. I'm running mine to take this up to $100. Then you have an upsell for 197, and then a secondary upsell if you want to, which is usually a recurring fee. Right, really simple system. So basically, a lot of people come through, they'll only pay you this $27 or the $1 or $10, $100, whatever that front end offer might be. That should be enough for you to break even on the ads. And then this, the sort of 20% of people who take this, that's your profit. That's one way to increase the order value. So increasing the revenue there. The other way, which is where the real money's made, is to then have proper sales sequences where you push these two. And basically it's then, you're attracting people here at cost or at small profit. I do it at a small profit, so they get about $12 per customer coming through. That's not going to be enough. I live in London. It's not going to be enough to keep a roof over my head. What I then do is I sell higher ticket offers again and again to those people, where then one person can be paying me, rather than $100, $1,000 or $5,000. In terms of the only bit that's missing, how do you increase the percentage of people who buy? That's more complex. Ads will get you more people to view your thing, and if you've got a good offer, that's how you make the money back, and then you can increase the order value through here. Both of those are really simple, right? The percentage of people who buy is much more difficult, and it depends on the sales asset that you've got working on that page, sales page, VSL, phone call, whatever. One thing that I would recommend is, what a lot of people do is they make really small changes, and so their growth, if it was going to be on this trajectory here, they make small changes. Nobody knows if the change is going to be good. It might be good, but they'll make a small change, so it might go up a little bit. Small change, it might go down a bit. Small change. I'm not here for that. I'm here for very rapid, larger changes. You see a lot of people and they'll say things like, oh, I just added this one word to the headline. And I'm like, come on, man. You need to be making much bigger changes than these tiny things. And so what you, by that, what I mean is you're going to be looking at what are going to be the big influences that's stopping somebody from buying. It's going to be either, one, it's like the wrong kind of traffic. So try a completely different audience. If you're running ads, it's just a simple matter of different targeting for the audience. Two, it's that the messaging doesn't work. So rather than just, if this is a big sales page, rather than just changing this headline here and leaving all the rest as it was, I would go and I would change the angle of it completely. So if it's talking about the big problem and that's not selling, talk about the transformation, talk about what it's going to enable people to do, talk about how easy it is. A big angle change is often better, coming at it with something new, because if your sales page or your sales material isn't working and it's not resonating with people, changing 1% isn't really going to change a lot. Those small changes are only good, really, when you're already up here doing lots of changes, lots of success, and then you can do that with it. But when you're down here trying to figure out what works, making small changes makes it very difficult. You want to do the big changes so you can work your way up that ladder. But that is the best way to increase the effectiveness of the sales material. Big changes, not small things. Look at changing the audience, the angle, the kind of the way in which the copy is presented. If it's a written sales page and it's not working, see if a VSL works, see if phone calls work. If the phone script isn't working, don't just change the greeting unless it's the greeting where everybody drops off. Try and come at this from a completely different angle. See if it's that's the big issue. It's way more complex than the other two in terms of figuring out what works, but that's what you've got to do as a digital entrepreneur. You've got to try things, but just don't fall into that trap so many people do and make small changes to expect big gains. If something isn't working, a small change ain't going to fix it. You're going to have to come up with a big change. But that's really it. So if we, summarizing this, very simple. Your revenue is the result of 3 different metrics: number of people who see it, the percentage of those people who buy, the value of those people. You need to increase one or all of these. Increasing or changing one will affect the other 2 as well. However, that's part of the course. As long as you end up making more revenue at the end, you're all good. What I would recommend is that once you've got a product, first get the product working. Then I would recommend adding more people with ads, so it's a self-liquidating offer, and then selling more to those people as they come through your system. If you've got good traffic but you're unable to sell to them, look at making big changes to that sales material. It's obviously not working, so don't keep going with something that's not really very effective. If you're digging a hole in your garden and you've been given a spoon, don't keep trying to figure out new ways to use the spoon. Go grab a fucking shovel. It's going to have a much bigger effect than figuring out which angle is the best way to use the spoon, which is what most people are doing. Big changes lead to bigger results. But the key thing here is remember this formula. Find where you think you can have the biggest impact on your revenue. Make those changes, run it as a test, see. Simple as that. Any questions? Drop them in the comments. Let me know.